about 6:30. I'll call this meeting to order. I have a motion moved by Councillor LeBlanc, seconded by Councillor Tadman. The council amend the agenda to add a motion for a verbal report regarding Remembrance Day, specifically the council meeting of that day, under section 10.3. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Are there any opposed? The motion is carried. I have a motion moved by Councillor Tadman, seconded by Councillor Rowley. The council approved the October 21st, 2019 council meeting as amended. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? The motion is carried. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest? And if so, please state the general nature thereof. Councillor Anderson. Your microphone, please.
I will tonight declare item number 8.1. That's where our delegation speaks, Matt Razima, and 9.4 Smithfield Safety Improvements from Public Works. My property is at 898 Smith Street and is adjacent to the Kawartha Pine Ridge School Board's property, and which is the area where the Public Works will be proposing a new sidewalk on the Smithfield School property. That's 9.4.
Thank you.
And I've been spoken to the Integrity Commissioner and followed my intentions with them and to their satisfaction.
Thank you, Councillor Anderson. Do you mean 7.1 and 9.4? 7.1 is the delegation.
Okay, I got the 9.4 right. 7.1 then.
Okay, thank you. Because 8.1 is citizens' comment, that's all. You're not declaring under citizens' comment yet, I assume, unless someone mentions this item. Are there any other declarations? Thank you. Are there any announcements this evening? Not noted. So we have a motion moved by Councillor Tadman, seconded by Councillor Rowley. The council approved the October 7th, 2019 council meeting minutes as presented. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? The motion is carried. I have a motion moved by Councillor Rowley, seconded by Councillor Tadman. The council approved the October 15th, 2019 planning meeting minutes as presented. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Those opposed? The motion is carried. We have no statutory public meeting this evening, so we'll move into delegations, and our only delegation is from Matt Razima regarding the sidewalk proposal for Smithfield. Matt? Come on up. No, our meetings are recorded, so yeah, we have to get you to speak into the microphone, I'm sorry to say. There you go.
There we go. So yeah, the reason I'm here is because I live right on the corner of Smith Street and Drummond Street where the proposed sidewalk is. This proposed sidewalk, if it goes on the east side of my property, goes along the side of my building. There's no traffic. And that strip of land belongs to the school, and that's where the sidewalk's supposed to go. If they go on the west side of my property, it's right along the road. It's right where all our trucks come in, because we got a company called Aquafix. We do the wet basement waterproofing. So we've got at least 10 trucks there that pull in and out of there every morning and every night. And then where the sidewalk goes, I have a garage there that's been there forever. It's been there forever, this garage, and you can't put a sidewalk between the garage and the road. So my opinion on this one, just to let you know, is that I think it's a real dangerous place to put it. I think the liability goes way up. If something ever happened there, the argument would be, well, are you saying you had a chance to put it on the east side where there's no traffic at all? And that strip of land belongs to the school. That's what it's for. So, yeah, those were the points really. It doesn't fit along the road, and it's way too dangerous. And all these, like I said, and all the trucks come in and out of there. There's school buses going back and forth in there. There's parents that park in the or the church parking lot. And that's the reason why I would want to see it and suggest that it was put on the east side of the property. And like I said, the land is there available and for safety reasons.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to open the floor to members of council if they have any questions of
Can I just ask
clarification.
one question about clarification? What Mr. Anderson said? What exactly did that mean?
He's declared a conflict of interest with regard to the matter because the discussion may abut his
Right.
land, so
Right.
he won't be participating in the discussion.
Okay.
That's all.
Does he participate in the vote?
No, he will
Okay.
be neither participating in the discussion nor the vote on the staff report either.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I need
Yeah.
clarification. Thank you for your time.
You bet. Hang on, I'm going to ask council if they have any questions of clarification. Members of council? There are none. Thank you very much.
All right.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you. You don't need me any longer? You don't need me?
No, we do
All
not.
right.
No.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Actually, you could just give it to me, Preston. Yeah, we're good. Thank you. So we have one citizen's comment this evening, and it's from Roger McMurray. Oh, sorry. Thank you. I have a motion moved by Councillor Rowley, seconded by Councillor Tadman, that council receives the delegation from Matt Rosima regarding sidewalk proposal in Smithfield. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion is carried. So now we'll move into citizens' comment. We have one citizen's comment for Roger McMurray with regard to supporting the purchase of Memory Junction. Mr. McMurray, welcome.
Thanks, Mayor Ostrander, and hello, members of council. The subject that's going to be discussed at another meeting on the purchase of Memory Junction has been a subject that was also looked at by the former council, which included myself, John Martinello, and now Mayor Ostrander. We actually went to Quinte West and met with Mayor Harrison and Deputy Mayor Allier and spoke with people from Via Rail. And thanks for bringing it up, Councillor Tadman and Councillor Vink. We had a long discussion and all agreed that we should consider purchasing the site of Memory Junction, but we were unable, and we tried our very best to get a hold of the real estate agent. We talked to Mrs. Whittyfield, but were unable to even get a price, and so it died, and it died with that council. But thanks for bringing it up again, because it is important that and I'll just briefly tell you why it's important. There's millions and millions of cars going up and down east and west on the 401, spewing out carbon monoxide and other noxious gases that we need to address. Global warming is coming upon us, and we have to be cognizant of that, and we need to do something. And I deem it a little thing that we can do, but it's something. And that something would be to purchase the railway station with the aim of possibly locating a stop here so that we can get all these cars off the road and get people into trains. It's much more efficient. If you've ever been to Europe, that's pretty well all they use over there is the railways. There's many, many railways. They're very efficient, very fast. They're quiet. They don't have big claxtons blasting away. They're electric mostly. And so I would encourage you to take this. It'll be the best asset that Brighton has in infrastructure-wise, because these locations beside tracks, they don't make them every day. And this one's been there for 200 years, probably, or thereabouts. It's been there since the 18-something. Anyway, and I've even taken the train from Brighton Station. In 1959, I took the train there. Mary remembers when. Well, you're the same class I was.
I'm going to stop you there.
Okay. Anyway, you have an idea of what I would like to see you do with that station, and I have some options or ideas about what you could use it for. You could use it, there was a couple on 5 Creek Boulevard. I understand there was some businesses moving out of that building. And I'm to understand from the people moving out that everyone's moving out. And there's a clothing depot in there and the flippin' furniture place and what have you. So they'll be lost and they'll need a home. And you can always rent it if you have to somebody like that. So it won't be a loss to the municipality. It'll be a money-making prospect. So I encourage you to consider purchasing it, and it will bear fruit. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you, Mr. McMurray. And I have a motion moved by Councillor Anderson, seconded by Councillor Bateman. The council received the citizens' comments from October 21st, 2019 council meeting. Is there any discussion? Go ahead, Councillor LeBlanc. He is not.
Oh, he's gone.
He's gone, and we don't ask questions of citizens' comments.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know if this building has been designated as a heritage building.
I believe it has.
Right.
It designated or listed? It is designated as a designated property.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? The motion is carried. We'll move into staff reports. Our first report is the 2019 third quarter financial report. Mrs. Whitfield, we've read your report. Do you have anything to add or highlight?
I have nothing to add, but I'd like to highlight that the municipality is working within its approved budget. We do have some risk. Our snowplow budget is close to full budget now. The actuals are close to full budget now. And of course, consulting fees are always a little bit of a risk, but we're working well within that approved budget at this point.
Thank you. I have a motion moved by Councillor Anderson, seconded by Councillor Bateman, that council receives the 2019 third quarter financial report as information. Is there any discussion? Councillor Rowley.
Thank you, Mayor. Linda, on page 34 of 82 or page 3 of 6, or maybe this might need to go to Mr. Parkinson. Traffic lights, 15,000, actual 1145. When I look over at page 40 of 82, we have 70,000. Is that because we have yet to replace traffic lights in the downtown? I'd like to know why 15,000 in one place and 70,000 in the other place.
So this is the operating budget for your traffic lights here, and that's just the hydro for the year to operate our traffic lights. And the 70,000 is our capital. And that is showing up under your Public Works roadway maintenance budget. It shouldn't be, but that's where it's showing up. So what you're looking at under traffic lights is merely your hydro for operating your traffic lights for the year.
Oh, okay. And so the 70,000, meaning we're still going to get traffic lights. Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? Councillor LeBlanc?
Thank you. I'll have questions as soon as I can reopen my iPad, because I highlighted and marked the questions I wanted, and then on here. And for some reason, when I come to council, it freezes.
I'm going to go over to Deputy Mayor Vink while you're trying to get your machine to work. Deputy Mayor?
Just for clarity, the idea is that it's not going to snow, right? Because I'm good with that. I just want to make sure.
That's correct.
Okay.
We will not have snow till January.
Good luck. You can certainly ask Mrs. Whitfield tomorrow or the next day your questions to get clarification for those. Yeah, okay. All right. Anyone else? All those in favor? Any opposed? The motion is carried. Our next report is with regard to the crib dock removal RFP. Mr. Miller, we've read your report. Do you have anything to add or highlight?
No, everything's in the report.
I have a motion moved by Councillor Bateman, seconded by Councillor Anderson. The council receives a staff report from the Director of Parks and Recreation regarding crib dock removal RFP number REC 2019-10, and that council awards RFP number REC 2019-10 to Drew Harrison Hollage of Picton, Ontario, for a total before tax amount of $39,000, with funding for this project coming from the financial analysis provided in the staff report. Is there any discussion? Councillor Tadman.
Thank you, Mayor, and through you to our Director of Parks, that I understand why you're doing it. I don't have a problem with that at all. And it sounds reasonable, the price. How many floating docks have we got there now? I meant to go up today, but I just ran out of time.
We have 2.
And we pull those.
We pull those out
Yeah.
in the winter, yes.
Okay.
We'll be doing that in the next couple of weeks. We just got to get all the boats out.
If people were down when it was flooding, you would have noticed that we hardly had any rock even out at the end of that long. So this is a good move.
Yeah.
The other thing, just, may I? I knew you would let me. I had to pick up someone at the bottom of Harbor Street as you go behind, Harbor and as you're turning to go up to Presskill, but past the boat launch, and that is horrible there to even get in. There's so many potholes. I know we're not doing anything with the road. Is that municipal property? I would assume it is.
The turnaround? I believe that's M&R's.
That part, but the part that you get to the turnaround, where the homes are.
Well, I assume that would be the road. That would be Harbor
Yeah.
Street.
Those people there, one in particular has broken an axle and someone else did a bunch of damage, and I tried to get in there and went real slow. It's really bad. Could we not at least get some gravel in there? Thank you. Tomorrow?
Through your worship, no, not tomorrow, but we're going to put some crushed asphalt in there, smooth it out and pack it down because it holds a lot better than just regular aggregate.
Excuse me, but I know, Mayor, that it does flood out again, probably next spring, but it's hazardous in there. Okay, thanks.
Council did have a proposal in front of it at one point to do the entire paving down there and around, and we decided to hold off on that. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was an extra 65,000, but no, I believe our Director of Finance and Admin just pointed out that part of the resolution has to contain the part that we're taking reserves out, the Recreation Reserve account money of $10,000. It has to be in the
Has to be in the actual motion?
Yeah, yes. So we just tack it out on the bottom here.
So if I add, including
$10,000.
$10,000 from the Recreation Reserve account, does that work?
Yes. Thank you.
Councillor Bateman and Anderson, are you okay with adding that to the motion? Is there any other discussion? All in favor? Are there any opposed? Motion is carried. Our next report is with regard to brushing and tree removal. Mr. Parkinson, we've read your report. Do you have anything to add or highlight?
Not at this time.
I have a motion moved by Councillor Bateman, seconded by Councillor Anderson. The council received the staff report from the Director of Director of Public Works regarding brushing and tree removal, and that council directs staff to include $120,000 in the 2020 operating budget for roadside brushing to maintain the yearly brushing program on its current 3-year cycle. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? The motion is carried. We move on to the Smithfield Safety Improvements Report. Mr. Parkinson, we've read your report. Do you have anything to add or highlight?
Not at this time.
And I'll need a seconder for this one. It is moved by Deputy Mayor Vink that council approve the construction of a pedestrian sidewalk immediately east of Civic Address 884 Smith Street on property owned by Kawartha Pine Ridge District School Board in 2020. and that council directs staff to issue and award a tender for the contracted services to perform winter sidewalk maintenance on the Smith Street sidewalk for 2019, 2020, and 2020-2021 winter seasons, and that council approve an additional staff position of crossing guard. Is there any oh yeah, I do need a seconder. Is there any discussion? Councillor Tadman.
The deputy mayor moved that, if she'd like to speak first. Otherwise, I agree with all of this, and I understand that it wouldn't be economically feasible to send a town staff, or municipal staff, into Smithfield when we can tender it out. So I agree with all, and they definitely need a crossing guard there. So I agree with all of this.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. I just have some questions about which side is better and whether or not we're allowed to build a sidewalk on the school board's property. And just wondering, Preston, if you're able to elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah, I met with the principal of school facilities and the principal of Smithfield Public School, and this is their preferred location to have it on that side, and that's where the principal of the school currently directs staff and students to pick up and drop off kids, just for the way it enters their playground and keeps kids out of the parking lot.
Okay, thank you.
Why then did KPR not build a sidewalk there?
I can't answer that question.
And why would this municipal council want to, and I'm looking at you, but I'm not asking you, why would this municipal council want to fund a sidewalk on school board property? I'm not sure that's what the taxpayers of Brighton expect from us, quite frankly. Councillor Tadman.
May not be what they expect, Mayor, but for health and safety reasons, it's been going on for a long time, and the school board hasn't moved to build. Maybe they're not in the business of building sidewalks, and I think for the health and safety of the children, we should do it.
Well, on the subject of health and safety, should we not be building sidewalks for the entire community, not just a few during 8 months of the year that are attending school? And then, if that's the case, Mr. Rozima's comments aside, should we not be looking at a more practical sidewalk that is more community focused and not just for the school board? And we're not the Board of Education around this circle. We're the Council for Brighton, which includes Smithfield. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. What I'm curious on is whether or not we're saying that they haven't built it. Have we asked them to build it? Or have we asked them whether or not they're going to build it? Has that discussion taken place?
During our site meeting, I asked the principal of facilities, and they had no plans to build a sidewalk at that location. But they did agree that they would provide the winter maintenance to it as part of their property maintenance. So we would only be physically responsible for the construction of the sidewalk, and then it would alleviate us of all future maintenance requirements.
Any other discussion? I wonder if the school board would be okay if we built them a school too, if they took on maintenance of it. Just wondering. Councillor Tadman.
The other school, Brighton Public School, has a sidewalk out in front that was, I know it's on municipal property. Well, it really isn't municipal property there either. It's number 2 highway. But I'm not going to nickel and dime over kids' safety, and the other people that live in the area can also use that sidewalk.
As long as they don't mind trespassing on school property, because it is a trespass. It's property owned by Kawartha Pine Ridge District School Board, and unless you have permission to be on board property, you shouldn't be on board property. And to your first point, Highway 2 is municipally owned property. County Road 2, Elizabeth Street is municipally owned
Elizabeth,
property.
okay.
Yeah.
And do you think, Mayor, that they're going to police that so that nobody can walk on that sidewalk?
Well, I doubt it. Since they clearly don't have the budget to build a sidewalk, they probably don't have the budget to be policing the sidewalk.
Well, and we pay into the school board a lot of money, so that may be your argument.
precisely why they should be paying for their own sidewalk. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion is carried.
Could we have a recorded vote on that since you're opposed to it?
Sure. A recorded vote has been requested. The recorded vote will be, hang on. If that's the case, then I'd like to separate the motion out.
We already know that the maintenance is being done by the school board.
No, the maintenance is being done by a contracted service, according to this motion.
Okay, we can take that out.
Well, why would we take that out? We still have a sidewalk on Smith Street, Councillor Tadman. That's the one that we want to maintain.
I
Through your
thought you
worship.
said that school board's going to do this.
On the section from Smith Street to the school,
That's
the
it?
municipality is responsible for the sidewalk all along Smith Street from Walt to just past the church.
Okay.
Motion's already come back. Realistically, we can't really. In our procedures, we wouldn't be able to do a recorded vote because the vote has already been done.
But a recorded vote could be requested at any point. What we can't do is separate the motion
Separate the
out.
motion, yeah.
So I'll get you to
Sorry,
call the
that's what I
recorded vote, and I'll figure out how I'm going to do this.
Could I just have some clarification then? Because now I'm a bit confused. Maybe I wasn't paying attention. Speak again. If I could just have clarification on what you brought up now, the contracted services.
So there are
If
three.
I understand,
there are three-
Mr. Parkinson.
There are three parts to the motion that we have
Right.
read and passed. Just to be clear, the motion has been carried, it has been declared carried. The first part is that we construct a pedestrian sidewalk
Yes.
on school board property
Right.
from Smith Street to the public school. The second is that we contract services for this season and next winter season for Smith Street sidewalk. That's the sidewalk that runs roughly
Just-
from the United Church down to Walt Street, give or take.
Okay, we're not contracting then, we're not paying for the sidewalk to the school parking lot?
No, facilities have, KPR facilities have agreed to maintain that
Right,
portion of
okay,
the sidewalk.
okay, that was where my confusion was, so I'm good.
And also,
We
in
need
this
a crossing
motion that we have agreed to, we will be adding a staff position for a crossing guard
guard.
at that new
Okay.
intersection.
Thank,
Go ahead and call the vote.
So Councillor Mary Tadman,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Laura Vink,
Yes.
Councillor Ron Anderson.
He's
Sorry,
in a
yes.
conflict.
Sorry. Councillor Mark Bateman,
Yes.
Councillor Doug LeBlanc,
Yes.
Councillor Emily Rowley,
yes.
Mayor Brian Ostrander.
Yes.
Okay. Carried.
Next report is 2019 Department Work Plans. Mr. Castleman, we've read your report. Do you have anything to add or highlight?
Just for the benefit of council and the community, this is the second quarterly report that we've brought forward for 2019. As you know, we passed a new strategic plan back in April, and we've agreed that we'll bring forward to both council and the community an update with respect to how are we doing. So we've done just that. We've given you a third quarter update with respect to the various initiatives. I've highlighted a few just to draw your attention to some of the financial matters that we've been dealing with over the course of the last quarter, some of the administrative issues that we've been dealing with, and in addition to that, we have some economic development initiatives that we've moved the yardstick forward. So excited always to bring an update to both council and the community with respect to moving our various initiatives forward.
Thank you, Mr. Castleman. I have a motion moved by Deputy Mayor Vink, and I'll need a seconder that council approve the 2019 third quarter work plan report as depicted in Schedule 1. Councillor Rowley is our seconder. Is there any discussion? Go ahead.
Very positive. I'm glad to see that we're moving ahead and filling some gaps and getting some necessary positions filled and some good work done. Thank you.
Hear, hear. Deputy Mayor.
I was just going to echo the same thing, just feeling good about making some move forward and starting to work on our strategic plan.
Chipping away at needed things, I agree. Councillor LeBlanc.
I agree, it's a very good plan through your chair, but I have one question. Was there anywhere in there for ditching?
I'm looking at our public works director, but my recollection is, no, there's nothing specific there. Obviously, we've taken on some new initiatives with respect to what I'll call road maintenance, whether it be ditching or brushing or sidewalks and/or surface treatment. And we've, at budget time, we talked about, moving the yardstick well ahead of where we were in the past number of years. I think we've been successful in doing that. If you want to get an update from our director, I'm sure he's happy to enlighten everybody.
We have an update on Thursday night from him at the rural meeting.
Perfect. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? The motion is carried. And we have a motion coming forward from our October 7th meeting. It is moved by Councillor Tadman, seconded by Deputy Mayor Vink. Whereas the municipality of Brighton is home to one of the this is the motion? Yep. Whereas the municipality of Brighton is home to one of the last original Grand Trunk stations currently situated on the property known as Memory Junction. And whereas this property holds rich historic value for the municipality of Brighton, with the station opening in 1857 and closing in 1962. And whereas there is the hope that the train will once again stop in the municipality of Brighton, therefore be it resolved that Council directs staff to prepare a report as to the cost to purchase, maintain, and preserve the Grand Trunk Station, currently known as Memory Junction, for current and future use. Is there any discussion? Deputy Mayor.
Does the mover want to start? No?
No, I'll let the young thing go first.
Thank you, I think. Sure. So I think this is something that we've all had discussions about at one point. Councillor Tadman and I decided to bring this forward. We were just talking about a strategic plan, and I do think this actually falls into a few areas. Economic development could be one of them, but I think also when we talk about build a workable and livable community, there's 3 points here about supporting ongoing built heritage initiatives, enhance public transportation, identify heritage assets, and advocate for rail service stop. All of these goals, or it could be part of all of these goals. We don't have a train stopping in Brighton right now. The hope is that we will eventually. Again, things are changing as far as travel and more people moving to the Brighton area. And there could be, I think the goal of this motion is to start to think about it. What can we do? What are our options? What can we do in the meantime between now and when we do have rail stop again? Like I said in the motion, this is one of the last 5 of these Grand Trunk stations. There used to be CPCN and the Grand Trunk. This is the last one. There are only 5 others in Ontario. So I'd hate to see it go, and I think it would be a really great asset to use down the road.
Councillor Tadman.
Yes, and McMurray, I was trying to think of his last name, Roger McMurray made the point that it wasn't for sale at the time that you guys were looking into it, but it definitely is for sale, and I've talked to the family. And as you know, the kingpin and all of that was Ralph, and he died this past year. And it is up for sale, and if we don't move rather quickly, we may lose it. And I think at least we need to tell the family that we are looking into it at least, so that, because they want it to stay here in Brighton. There is an interest. I understand that for some of the things that are there, there's the big locomotive that's already been sold off. So we don't know. Someone else might want to take that and put it in their particular municipality, city, or whatever. So I think, don't say tomorrow, but I think we need to get on it at least to see it and make some connection with the Eugene Abangi, the wife of Ralph, and she was very active in it too.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Councillor Anderson?
Councillors or Deputy Mayor, are you suggesting the purchase the way it is now, or just the land and the buildings?
The motion is that staff prepare a report as to the cost
Okay.
to maintain and preserve.
But for everything? I guess we could break it down in that request.
Councillor Tadman?
I think we need to first research and find out what the price is and talk about anything that's inside the buildings after that, because I know that there's some things that are already been sold off.
I'm reticent to continue having this discussion in open because, at some point we will probably receive a report in closed with regard to this, as it is a potential land sale, and what we don't want is for the municipality to be put into an awkward position of having driven up its own price. So let's try to get our heads around making the decision for tonight so that we can receive a report and have a discussion in camera. Deputy Mayor?
Yes, and that is the nature of the request, is just to get the discussion going so that we can have, at this point, we can't have a discussion unless we actually open it up in this way. So
Precisely. Councillor Tadman?
And I would suggest if you could just call the vote on that, because we do get into a discussion that we may not want to have.
I don't want to get into the weeds, and yet I still want people to be able to ask their questions. So, Councillor LeBlanc?
I'd like to call a recorded vote.
A recorded vote?
Yes.
All right, I'll make sure the discussion is through.
Yeah,
Councillor Rowley?
I think staff has heard enough conversation around the table already.
So
I'm sure they know what our
recorded vote has been requested. A recorded vote is called by the clerk in alphabetical order, starting with the person who called for the recorded vote, which is Councillor LeBlanc. Madam Clerk?
Councillor Doug LeBlanc,
Yes.
Councillor Emily Rowley,
Yes.
Councillor Mary Tadman,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Laura Venk, Councillor Ron Anderson,
Yes?
Councillor Mark Bateman,
Yes.
Mayor Brian Ostrander.
Yes.
Sorry. Wouldn't be the first.
We'll move on to the next motion, coming from a notice of motion from the October 7th meeting. The motion is moved by Councillor Anderson, seconded by Deputy Mayor Vink. Whereas the municipality of Brighton currently does not have ample hotel accommodations, and whereas with the growing community and a need to promote economic development, it would be prudent to make an effort to provide accommodations to those visiting, working, or passing through the municipality of Brighton. Therefore, be it resolved that Council directs staff to prepare a report providing the cost to have an accommodation study completed, funding options to pay for the study, and possible next steps to seeing this option become available to potential investors. This will be completed with the intentions to include in the 2020 budget. Is there any discussion? Councillor Bateman.
I was just going to ask, with the new economic development officer, is that not something that would just fall under him at the direction of the CAO, that he could ask him to look into this?
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, the answer is absolutely.
Any other discussion? Councillor Tadman.
So do we still need this motion?
Well, that's entirely up to the mover and seconder.
Yeah.
They would like to withdraw it. My suggestion is yes, because all we're asking is to put it into the budget. Because although
Yes, and at this point, there's no cost.
today,
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. The report will come back.
yeah,
That's the way I understand it.
which will probably tell us the cost of a hotel accommodation study.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at this point, we're only making a recommendation for staff to bring us back with a report.
That's correct. Councillor Anderson.
I've done a lot of research on this, but I'm not going to let all that information out right now because you don't want it right now, right?
That's right.
So, but I can let out that I've spoken to economic development, or who we are associated with, and a number of other people. There is funding available, and that will come back with this report probably, and it's under the tourism. There's a tourism there's a lot of tourism funds available out there for things like this. And I'll just make a point, if you're going to have folks coming here by train and that, we need some accommodation. So this is sort of a great synergy to what we're talking about tonight, but it's moving ahead and being prepared in down the road as our community grows. We're sending people that want to come and visit family to other communities to stay overnight, and I think it's time we really started to address the needs of in that area. And a feasibility study will tell us at what level or what size or what those type of things, and that's why it's important that we do this so we can proceed. And land will be another topic to be discussed as well.
And it's my understanding that by and large, without this study, hoteliers don't even look at your community.
They're not interested.
Yeah. Deputy Mayor?
Thank you. Again, I think this falls into the whole economic development area, and we're just trying to, our community is growing by people moving here. I think this is just part of it, is growing in some of these other areas that maybe there are need as well. So that's the only reason why we brought it forward.
Any other discussion? Councillor Bateman?
Nope, that all makes sense, but as it was tied into the rail station, if we get it, because that will be a good thing, but I'll also tie it into the motion a while back that we might have to look at going beyond 3 stories, because if a hotel wants to come to town, they're not going to go 3 stories.
Fair enough. Any further discussion? Councillor LeBlanc? Oh, he's just rattled your chain, hasn't he, Councillor LeBlanc? You go right ahead, sir.
No, Mayor, that's exactly what I was going to say, because we brought a motion up. One of the things was to go above 3 stories to have a hotel. So I'm well in favor of this.
Very well.
And it was supposed to be sent to staff for report. Still waiting.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Are there any opposed? The motion is carried. And 10.3 is a verbal report with regard to Remembrance Day. Is that you, Madam Clerk? Mr. CAO, who wants to do that?
Sure, I'll tackle this one.
Thank you.
The reality is that November 11th is a very special night and a very special day, and I think it's incumbent upon not only this community but Canadians as a whole to respect the veterans and what they have done over the last 75 years or so. And our recommendation from a staff perspective is to have the meeting for the 11th moved to the 12th.
Thank you, sir. I have a motion moved by Councillor LeBlanc, seconded by Councillor Tadman, that in recognition of Remembrance Day, Council will reschedule the November 11th, 2019 planning meeting to November 12th, 2019. Is there any discussion? And I understand, Madam Clerk, that we've been in touch with the planner and they were fine with moving this without any issues. Councillor Tadman, did you have a comment?
Just, I'm pretty sure that the mayor and whoever gets represented the night at the Legion dinner, isn't it?
I have been asked if I would go, and I have told them I'm going to wait until I know what council wants to do.
And others are, I know,
so
if you get your ticket, you can go, anybody
right.
else, but the mayor gets a special spot.
Oh, look at that.
I think you have to pay for your ticket, though.
I can manage that, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? The motion is carried. Under unfinished business, we have the correspondence from Gina Boyd requesting to paint a municipal bench in the downtown core. I have a motion moved by Councillor Tadman, seconded by Councillor Rowley, that we were deferring it again. The council defers the request from Gina Boyd to paint a municipal bench in the downtown core in the rainbow colors in acknowledgement of acceptance of the LGBTQ community until CAO can investigate the municipal policy. Is that...
My understanding is we have no policy in that regard.
Okay, so you have investigated, and we don't seem to have a policy. So then this deferral, it's a motion to defer.
No, actually, it says receive the report, it should.
That's okay.
For the first one,
Okay, so, is it okay if we withdraw this motion and rewrite it? Councillor Tadman.
I would like to defer it, because if we don't have a policy, I think we should have a policy before we make these kind of commitments.
All right, so I've read the motion to defer. If we vote in favor of a deferral, it says until the CAO has investigated. The CAO has already told us there is no municipal policy.
But I'd like to see a policy.
So you'd like this rewritten to read until a policy has been prepared and passed by council?
Yeah.
And if this is defeated, then we will put another motion on the floor. All those in favor? Because I can't ask for debate on a motion to defer. So all those in favor? Any opposed? The motion is defeated. I have a motion to receive or support the concept. Anyone? I will move that Council supports the request from Gina Boyd to paint a municipal bench in the downtown core of Brighton in the rainbow colors in acknowledgement and acceptance of the LGBTQ community. Is there a seconder? I've got 3 seconders. Councillor Bateman, please. Is there any discussion on that? Councillor Rowley.
Yeah, just a bit of discussion. I think Councillor Tadman and I spoke about this. And I guess maybe that was the reason to defer, to kind of maybe create a policy around what we can do with, what the general public can do with municipal property. As far as this is maybe one bench, what are we opening that door for? And maybe for no other, just for other people wanting to do the same thing, whether it be benches, walls, paintings, whatever. So I just don't know if we're going to set up with doing one thing, how many more of these kind of requests are we going to get to label municipal property?
So I'll just comment that, of course, we don't, any request would be considered by council, including this one, obviously tonight. And we would, I think, on a case-by-case basis, make a decision whether that would be the kind of thing we would want to see in our municipality.
So should that not be in a policy somewhere?
I think that's a discussion for another day. This is simply a request from one citizen. I don't have a problem if someone wants to put a notice of motion out there or discuss with the clerk's office about creating a policy with regard to the painting of municipal property in the downtown. I think it might be appropriate. I would agree. I think it might be appropriate to have a policy. So we should carry on that discussion, certainly with the clerk's office, and if necessary, through a notice of motion. Councillor Tadman.
But council's already voted that down. Because I asked...
Council voted down deferring this.
Yeah, to make a policy. Wasn't that all part of it? To have a new policy?
Part of your deferral was to defer it until there was a new policy, but but the deferral deferral motion was not about the policy. The deferral motion was about the request. So I
thought you added both to it.
Well, I did, but the second portion was until a policy is created. It doesn't stop us from creating a policy moving forward. Any further discussion? Councillor Anderson?
Just one thing, it's certainly not the first bench the community's approved, so...
That's probably true. Councillor Bateman.
I was just going to say, I voted in support of this because it's long overdue to, every community in Ontario supports the LGBTQ, and we're kind of behind the 8 ball, but in terms of municipal property, I agree we do need a policy, but we do have people coming in front of council all the time. We're lighting up the Cotterington or the community center orange. We have people come and waive fee for the community center. We have road closures that are coming up, and that's on a consistent basis. So we do constantly address those things one-off. It doesn't mean we can't create the policy for other stuff at another time.
It also doesn't mean we can't deny something we don't agree with. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. I just agree that we do need to create some sort of policy because it's municipal property for any group who wants to adjust or change it. I think that would help us going forward to make decisions.
Fair enough. Any further discussion? Councillor LeBlanc?
Through you, your Mayor, a number of years ago, about 5 years ago, there was a TV program, CBC. They went to the national news. There was my niece that wanted to play football in Halifax, Sackville. She went from being my niece to my nephew. And she was all through national news and on the U.S. TV. She was the thing for the LGBT community. And I also have 2 nephews and another niece. So that's why I can support this.
Thank you. Anything further? Councillor Tadman.
I have nothing against the LGBTQ and on to Z. Maybe eventually. It's that we haven't got a policy, and I think without a policy, I cannot support this.
Anything further? All in favor? Are there any opposed? The motion is carried. We'll move into bylaws. Our first bylaw is moved by Councillor Rowley, seconded by Councillor Tadman. The council gives a bylaw. It's first, second, and third reading and finally passes on this date. Being a bylaw to authorize temporary road closures for portions of various streets during the Santa Claus Parade in the municipality of Brighton. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Are there any opposed? Motion's carried. Our next bylaw is moved by Deputy Mayor Vink, and it will require a seconder. The council gives a bylaw. It's first, second, and third reading and finally passes on this date. Being a bylaw to authorize a temporary road closure for portions of various streets during the Remembrance Day ceremony in Memorial Park. Councillor Bateman, are you seconding that? Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? The motion's carried, I think. I'm going to call the vote again because hands are flying everywhere. All those in favor? Are there any opposed? The motion is carried. And I have a motion moved by Councillor Bateman, seconded by Councillor Anderson. The council gives a bylaw. It's first, second, and third reading and finally passes on this date. Being a bylaw to authorize a temporary road closure for portions of various streets during the Candlelight Vigil in Memorial Park. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? The motion is carried. And we have no reports of advisory committees of council. We have no reports or minutes of statutory committees, boards, and external agencies. We have no correspondence or direction items. We have no FYI correspondence. And so I will open the floor to question period. If any members of the public wish to ask a question with regard to an item on our agenda, please come forward. And there is none noted. We have no in-camera session. I will read our confirmatory bylaw. It is moved by council. Come on, Raj. We move these things along quickly now, Raj.
Raj McMurray, Brighton, Ontario. Why is it that I have to ask a question to thank council for all their hard work and the mayor as well? Thank you all.
Thank you, Roger. Very kind. I have a motion moved by Councillor Anderson, seconded by Councillor Bateman, that council gives a bylaw. It's first, second, and third reading and finally passes on this date. Being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Corporation of the Municipality of Brighton Council meeting held on October 21st, 2019. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Oh, go ahead.
I know we passed this, and I don't know if you're going to allow it, but I should have caught it during the announcements. I just wanted to... Both the mayor and I attended Harry and Margaret Tackleberry's 50th anniversary, and what jogged my memory when we're talking about Memory Junction, when I was standing in that room and I commented to the mayor, listening to the pockets of conversations, there was a lot of human digital archive in that room, and it was just amazing to listen to those guys talk. So I just thought I'd mention Harry, because he's our former fire chief. And so
he is, you're right.
Pretty cool event.
Thank you, Councillor Bateman. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor? Those opposed? The motion is carried. And for those of you, before I read the motion to adjourn, for those of you who haven't done so already, you have 2 hours and 5 minutes to vote in our federal election. And we wish all 5 candidates best wishes, regardless of the outcome tomorrow. There's only 4? Yeah, there are 5. There are still 5 candidates, and we wish them their best, regardless of what happens. Sometime, I'm guessing, around 2 o'clock this morning, when we find out what happens here in Northumberland, Peterborough South. They really are. I have a motion moved by Councillor Anderson, seconded by Councillor Bateman. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not quite done. that the October 21st, 2019 council meeting adjourn at 7:24 PM. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? The motion is carried. Thank you all.